Hello there everybody, you are the audience, my name is Supersonic Blood and welcome back to the next episode of Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Last time, we learned that there was in fact one too many a witness who witnessed what happened at the scene of the crime. And the worst part is, one of those must therefore be a witch. Now we have to work out which witness was in fact the witch and why they were there. But first, we have to get through some testimony of what they saw and what they didn't see. So, Nightle, you wish to know where we were standing tonight? It matters not! Would the flames not burn just the same? That flame, I never saw anything like it. It quite literally left me speechless. I couldn't even so much as scream. I heard the tiniest cry, and then when I turned around, the blighters were roasting, so I rushed right over. I heard the incantation, then the flames suddenly erupted. Oh, I'm certain of it. I only saw 3 people there with us. As I said, there were only 3 others present, like that man there, who was stumbling around like a newborn calf. A most heinous act indeed. No small wonder these witnesses are so confused. A witch amongst the witnesses. What an utterly baseless claim. I don't think so, Barnum. The only baseless claim is this case of a speller being a witch. It's more than a little likely one of these witnesses is the culprit. These testimonies are bound to tell me who the real witch is. What we saw and what we didn't see. You wish to know where we were standing? That's not really gonna matter. Sure, that doesn't really tell us anything that's relevant. That flame, I never saw anything like it. It quite literally left me speechless. I couldn't even so much as scream. Irrelevant. I heard the tiniest cry, and then when I turned around, the blighters were roasting, so I rushed right over. So what were you turned around and saw them? The tiniest cry? It might have been someone saying the incantation for that spell. My memory's kinda hazy on that one. Scared me good though. Never jumped up on my feet so fast in all my life. Nearly had a heart attack, I tell you. Jumped up? So, it was still raining cats and dogs, so being the resourceful chap that I am, I decided to doze under a tree for a bit. Oh, did you now? Hang on! Is everything alright, Mr. Wordsmith? Is that what you want? What is it you want this time, young one? I just wanted to know if you had any thoughts on the testimony just now. Ah, yes. Thoughts about slumbering under trees, you mean? Slumbering? I often find myself weaving the most intricate of dreams under that very tree. Of course I could not nap tonight. Not with that uncouth man usurping my special dreaming spot, could I? Are you using this cross-examination to argue over a napping spot? Let us hope such arguments do not lead to any criminal acts in the future. Witness, please continue your testimony. And now you see, not every pressing of a witness on their other statements matters. I had the tiniest incantation. I'm certain I only saw 3 people with this. There they did. Oh, I went the wrong way. Alright. As I said, there was only 3 of us there, like that man there who was stumbling around like a newborn calf. I assume you mean Mr. So, including yourself, there were a total of 4 witnesses at the crime scene, correct? That is how it has come to pass. By the way, what did you mean by stumbling around like a newborn calf? Ah, yes, that was a man as inebriated as he was loud. Quite the humorous sight it was, I dare say. He must mean the witness permanently glued to his cup of whatever it is he's drinking. When I saw the flame rise up onto the sky, I wondered to myself, my word, whatever could that be? However, I could not simply walk over to check. My knees were a bit weak from the shock, you see. That is when the wobbly-legged gentleman came running over. Oh, yeah? Hang on! Ah, here we go. Is something the matter, mister? Virginia, Mister! Whoa, don't down the volume there, Bluey. That's my line. Sir Blue Knight, next time please think before you try to press this witness. Looks like this guy even managed to scare Barnum half to death. Now then, sir, about Mr. Wordsmith's testimony just now. He claimed that you were stumbling around. What does he mean by that? I'm gonna set the record straight right now. In no way was I stumbling around anywhere. I like to think of it more like, well, staggering with style. A responsible adult should know better than to go stumbling around in the dead of night. Hey, look, I don't just go stumbling around because I'm some clumsy idiot, alright? I've got more sense than that. But anyway, I kind of tripped over a large stone. I mean, you don't exactly see what's on the ground in front of you when you're running at full pelt, right? So, you could say I put my life out on the line, proving that you all really need to watch where you are going when you run. How courageous of you. Someone give this guy a medal. My lord, this testimony is a meaningless waste of everyone's time. Well, defender, is there a point to this particular line of questioning? Is there anything worth putting us in here? What should I do? Question further. The witness stated earlier that he tripped over a large stone. Mister, I have one question for you. Why weren't you watching what was in front of you? Well, to be honest with you, ain't much of a reason, but, well, something suddenly caught my attention. Out of nowhere, I sort of heard someone call out my name. You heard your name? Well, of course I turned around when I heard it. Who wouldn't? When a woman calls your name, you pay attention, am I right? So, you heard someone call out, "Hey, you," from behind, you mean? What? I said they called out my name! How many guys do you know called "Hey, you"? Me name is Emir, and don't you forget it, Bluey, yeah? I must say, this gentleman really does not strike me as an Emir. You know, Professor, it's not a very memorable name, is it? That's harsh. Honourable witnesses, is there any among you who was aware of this man's name prior to just now? Not at all! He's always just been Mister to me. A knight's name is only as good as the name of the sword he carries. It is the first time I have heard of this. I dare say I did not expect his name to be one such as Emir. I'm sorry, but I didn't know his name either. I only remember the names of my most loyal customers. Okay. Looks like absolutely no one knew this witness's name. You know, it ain't really much of a surprise to me either. But seriously though, I definitely heard someone call my name. When you get to be my age, you really start to wonder when you'll find that true love, you know. I thought that pretty voice tonight might have been my sweetie. Really? Really? Your Honor, I don't believe we should be so quick to label Mr. Emir's testimony meaningless. Would you not agree? I request that the witness add this amusing anecdote to his testimony. Understood. Witness, amend your testimony, but please reflect only the important parts of your story. I'm telling you, I had someone call me name, and I was looking around to try and find them. I hurried to the scene, but then I ended up tripping when I heard someone call my name from behind. Right, well, let's see what happens here. Excuse me, Mr. Emir. Don't sweat it, Bluey. Mr. Hey You, it's all the same to me. You you stated that you heard your name being called from behind. Are you absolutely sure about that?
Well, right or wrong, it sure sounded like my name. I mean, what else could it have been? I wouldn't have remembered it happening if I hadn't heard something, right? Still, maybe there's a chance I just imagined it, huh? Anyway, I remember it came from somewhere behind me.
From somewhere behind you?
Is something the matter, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Emir's memory isn't the most accurate, but if what he says is true, then there's definitely something there.
Something, you say?
Might you mean
a contradiction?
Yeah, I think so. Although, I don't know, there's just something strange about his testimony. I don't see any decisive evidence in the court record that could help, though.
Do you mean to say that you found a contradiction that cannot be supported by the evidence?
Objection! Great, so that's just baseless conjecture at that point, then? My lord, this line of interrogation is a complete waste of the court's time. Defender, I must warn you, from here on, any unnecessary questioning will be dealt with accordingly. If I don't answer correctly here, it's curtains for the trial and dispeller. If you are intent on finding a fault in this witness's testimony, you will need to present decisive evidence to back up your claims. There's not one single piece of decisive evidence in this court record, though. What do I do now?
Mr. Wright?
Mr. Layton?
That's Professor Layton. I have an idea. I believe there is a weapon of sorts with which you will be able to expose this contradiction without the need of evidence.
What? A weapon? Now, defender, give us your answer.
Right.
Yes, Your Honor. The defense finds that the witness testimony contains a clear contradiction. Your Honor, the defense believes that there is a huge contradiction in the witness's testimony.
Objection!
What is this? You must be an even bigger fool than I thought, Sir Blue Knight. You really do not possess even a sliver of common sense, do you?
Objection!
Objection. There we go. If I may interrupt for just a moment, Inquisitor Barnum,
this is my one of my favorite lines in the game. You'll hear me say this a lot, but
allow me to ask you this. What need is there for common sense in a world that forgoes using it? Accordingly, I must humbly ask that you discard such a manner of thinking.
Whatever do you mean?
You have my utmost thanks for placing your trust in me, Mr. Wright. Let us discuss the one remaining weapon in this course examination.
The remaining weapon?
This trial has taught us a valuable new technique to be used in the courtroom, has it not?
Oh, you mean questioning, right, Professor?
Indeed it is, Luke. Each of the witnesses in this trial has given their own account of what occurred. Therefore, whenever one witness has testified, the others remaining witnesses have listened. That gives me an idea. In addition to catching a witness off guard and questioning them about another's testimony, there is one more thing.
There's something else we can get from five-person cross-examination? Wait, that's right, of course!
Indeed, Mr. Wright, contradictions. Should one witness's testimony differ from another's testimony, then I suppose that in itself can also be considered a contradiction, can it not?
Testimony contradicting testimony. I never would have thought of that until now. Apart from the times when we've had statements presented from others' testimony which have been used to contradict... It has come up in other games, but it's never been done like this. It's been done as, here's a statement from this person. The best example I can give is April May had testimony which became a statement. The bellboy had an affidavit, which was a statement or a testimony, which was then used as evidence. So it has happened before, but not quite like this.
Enough. Sir Blue Knight, are you prepared to present to the court evidence proving the contradiction within this witness's testimony? No. The witness's testimony does not contradict any evidence. It contradicts a testimony. What are you talking about? It is time, Mr. Wright. Have a look at the touchscreen. There you will see the testimony of the witness in question, as well as those of the other witnesses. Keep your eyes peeled and identify the contradicting testimony. Yes.
Alright, let's give this another shot, Nick. Oh, Maya, hi, I forgot you existed. And make sure you don't forget to take a look at the court record, too.
I hurried to the scene, but then I ended up tripping when I heard someone call me name from behind.
Well, let's just take a quick peek here at the area map. The only person who was behind Amir was Kira. So, let's have a look at Kira's statement. It left me speechless. I couldn't even so much as scream, yet Ymir heard something from behind.
Objection.
Yes! Ha ha! The person contradicting this man's testimony is none other than you, Miss Kira. Are you both pointing at me? At the time of the incident, that man heard someone's voice call his name. That voice belonged to you, Miss Kira. I could not have been anyone else. And yet, in your testimony, you stated that you were in such shock during tonight's events that you couldn't even speak.
This is a clear contradiction.
Objection.
What? What is this? The meaning of this, Defender? Can you really claim to trust this sham of a witness and his sham of a testimony?
Objection.
This man's character is beside the point. His testimony is anything but a sham. As he watched the flames erupt, his attention was drawn to a voice behind him, which in turn made him fall over. He heard a woman's voice calling his name, a very concrete reason, and reason enough to believe his testimony.
Objection.
If it is as you say, then explain why you feel this witness is somehow responsible. That's right. Why me? People barely hear me when I'm out selling my flowers. That's how soft my voice is. And besides, there was another woman at the scene, wasn't there? Me? Where are you getting at, young lady? Do you honestly think a woman at my age would be out late at night in the forest flirting with questionable men? Besides, I didn't even know this pathetic man's name. How could I have called out to him? Neither did I. And even if I did know his name, do you really think he's the kind of guy any self-respecting woman would want? Come on, ladies. I'm standing right here, you know. Anyway, as I was saying, the only person that guy could have heard from behind was you, Miss Kira. The defense wishes to present evidence to prove this claim. Yes. To accuse a witness like this young lady here, why, it's simply unheard of. I must warn you, Defender, if you cannot prove your accusation to this court, you will see the underside of my gavel. Show us the evidence proving this young lady was the one called this man at the time of the crime. Okay, yes, so, sorry about that little jump cut, but yes, like I said, the area map shows that they're the only person behind them. Take a look at this and you'll have your answer. This is the crime scene sketch. You can see the positions of each witness during the crime. The only person he could have heard from behind was none other than Miss Kira.
Objection.
Listen here, Sir Blue Knight. I will only tell you this one more time. A sham of a witness yields only a sham of a testimony. That is all there is to it. Oh, come on. Did you, in fact, see this flower girl's face?
You know, now that you mention it, seeing as I'd fallen down and all, I don't think I saw her face. Okay, but you heard her voice, right? Let me think. Well, the voice came out of nowhere and it was kind of high-pitched. And I guess it kind of sounded like her, but I can't say whether or not it was this girl's voice.
And there you have it, Sir Blue Knight. Such a pity.
Huh?
My lord, it is clear that the defence's claim is nothing but a pointless waste of this court's time. I recommend you deliver unto them a penalty befitting such behavior.
Indeed, Inquisitor. Ready yourself, Defender. What is that laughter?
Pardon me, my lord. Huh? It looks like you've finally arrived at a decision. That means this has nothing to do with me. Isn't that right, Inquisitor Barnum?
What are you saying?
I'm saying that it's time for me to stop peddling testimony and get back to peddling flowers. I mean, look at all of these flowers left over. It's going to take me until sunrise to sell all of them if I stay here any longer. Or maybe, my lord, you and the rest of the court would be interested in buying out my entire stock of flowers to help a girl out.
No, I don't think,
Then it's settled. Now, if you'll excuse me, my apologies for the interruption.
Understood. The court will dismiss the witness.
Well, Miss Kira, it would seem you are beginning to show the court your true colors.
Oh? Whatever do you mean? Okay then, everyone. It looks like that's it.
Hold it! Wait, you can't leave yet! This cross-examination isn't over!
Now that's funny. You say it isn't over, yet the rest of the court seems to think otherwise. Isn't that right, Inquisitor Barnum?
The Inquisition maintains that the real witch is the accused Isabella Cantabella. This girl is nothing more than a witness. As such, the court cannot force her to stay against her will.
This is bad. If they let her walk out now...
Nick, do you think she could be the real witch?
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing that literally all of them could say. Kira has a very easy out here. According to where everyone is, Kira witnessed 4 people, everyone else witnessed 3. Because Ymir was blocking where Kira was standing, Miss Mary couldn't see that far, and all the others could only see those lit up by there. Kira was too far away if they look at their field of vision. Like, you look at their field, and some of them may not see it like they see. Like, as far as they're concerned, Kira can just say she saw all 4 of them, and they didn't see her, obviously. Simple as that. But no. No.
It's a shame. You really do like throwing around accusations, don't you, Sir Defender? Let me spell it out for you one last time, so even you can understand. I didn't know this man's name at all before today, and I still don't remember it. So, how could I have called out to him? Do you get it now? Now then, until we meet again, don't forget to buy some flowers on your way home, everyone.
Hold it.
Hold it, yes. There we go. One moment, please, Miss Kira.
Is there something else you wanted?
You don't seem to realize what you just let slip.
What are you talking about?
This man testified that he heard his name called at the crime scene. However, you had no knowledge of his name at the time, is that correct?
That's right. This weirdo is just imagining things. Like I said, I've already forgotten his name, even though he told it to us earlier.
There is just one problem, Miss Kira. Namely, what the voice he heard tonight was actually saying.
Huh?
What do you mean? Well, that's obvious. It was a name, wasn't it? Now, what was that name again? My lord, I'm still here, you know. You're saying that what this man heard tonight wasn't a name, but rather something else entirely? Indeed I am, Inquisitor Barnum. Something else? Aha! There's only one other thing it could be. It's a stretch, but the possibility is there. That's right, Mr. Wright. That single possibility is the key to solving this mystery. Here's the defense resi to present its evidence to the court.
This is ridiculous. I demand you let me go this instant.
Witness, what you are being accused of is not to be taken lightly. You will not leave this courtroom so long as any reasonable doubt remains. Defender, you may present your evidence. Show the court what the voice this man heard tonight was really saying.
Causes the vanishing of anything the caster touches from sight. Simply cast Amir to reappear.
What Emir heard was very close to his name, but so far away in a soft whisper. Along with him thinking that it could be someone whispering his name, his own cognitive bias kicked in. Bam!
Take that!
Excuse me, mister.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
You've, kind of got a name that no one seems to be able to remember for some reason.
Hey, it's Emir! Oh, my name's Emir, darn it. How many times have I got to say it? No matter the number of times you say it, you do not look like an Emir.
Again, I only remember my most loyal customers' names, and he doesn't look like he could afford even a single daisy.
Come on, guys, stop kicking a guy when he's down.
Mr. Emir, what you heard tonight at the crime scene was not your name. Your name just so happens to sound exactly like a certain other name.
Another name?
The answer is right here in this tome. I'm talking about Amir.
Amir?
What he actually heard at the time wasn't his own name.
It was the name of a magical incantation! What the?
That's right. Miss Kira, have you forgotten what you said just a few minutes ago? You quite clearly stated that you didn't know this man's name.
Objection!
Sir Blue Knight, let me get this straight. You're saying that the Amir heard by the witness was actually said by this flower girl, and that it was not his name at all, but rather the incantation of a magical spell? The defense proposes the following. The true criminal, this supposed witch, is not the defendant, Miss Ispella Cantabella, but instead the witness who was heard uttering the magical incantation, Miss Kira. She's our witch. You used magic to vanish from the scene and tried to frame Mrs. Spella Cantabella instead. No! What just happened? Is that girl... Is Ispella really not a witch? Unbelievable! I've never heard anything like this! Inquisitor Barnum, have those two really defeated Inquisitor Barnum?
Objection!
An impressive display, Sir Blue Knight. It would seem you have finally managed to hone your blade. However, I believe the blade's edge is already beginning to dull. What do you mean?
I'm referring to a contradiction, naturally.
Hey, that's my line! My lord, the Inquisition would like to set the record regarding what transpired this evening straight.
Very well, Inquisitor Barnum. Sir Blue Knight, you claim the following. At the time of the crime, the accused Isabella Cantabella was surrounded by the two rogues. Then, in order to frame the accused as a witch, Miss Kira cast the spell Demir and made herself vanish. Since then, she moved in closer to the victims, at which point she cast Ignace, thus causing the incident seen by our witnesses tonight. Indeed, that does seem to be the claim. The problem is what happened next. There is a contradiction in the defense's account of Miss Kira's movements. A contradiction in her movements? Allow me to continue. The witnesses have stated that they each ventured out towards the crime scene. Which is when Miss Kira, the witch, made her way to this point while still invisible. When she arrived at said spot, she then cast a mirror and reappeared to join the other witnesses. And there you have it. That is accurate, isn't it, Sir Blue Knight? Well, that's correct. Then Mr. Amir heard her call his name. Well then, I have but one question that I would like you to answer. Why would a witch need to do such a thing? What do you mean? Supposing Miss Kira were a witch, surely she would not have made the conscious decision to reappear when she did. One would imagine she would remain hidden and flee the crime scene. Quite right. That's what I'd do if I was a witch, and I'm not a witch, but that's what I'd do if I was a witch. But I'm not a witch, so I couldn't. But if I were, I would. Given that point, there would be no viable reason for her to recite the incantation. In other words, it is inconceivable that this flower seller, Miss Kira, could be a witch. What? What just happened? Is that girl... Is Kira really not a witch? Inquisitor Barnum, he's just turned this entire trial right around! Just what I'd expect from Labyrinthia's Sword of Justice! It is right. To which I have a question for you, Inquisitor Barnum. If Miss Kira wouldn't under normal circumstances...
That's right! You all heard it! It's just as Inquisitor Barnum said! Me, a witch!
Indeed. Not good. She's completely bounced back onto her feet. We were so close too! Oh, I can't believe it! Inquisitor Barnum, can't he see it? You just have to take one good look at her! It's obvious she's the real witch here! Remember, Mr. Wright, at times like this, a cool head will prevail. Mr. Layton? I'm sure you have had to fight your way out of circumstances such as these many times before. This situation is no different, and as a defense attorney, what would you usually do at such a time? What would I usually do? Of course! There's only one thing that can get me out of this situation like this. I've got to flip this case on its head and think outside the box. It would seem the defense has nothing further to add. Why, of course. That's because everyone knows the truth. They know that girl right there is the real witch. That settles it then. Go ahead and deliver your verdict, my lord.
Objection!
The situation is exactly as you described, Inquisitor Barnum.
It really doesn't make much sense for the witch to have used a mirror. Regardless, the defense still maintains that Miss Kira did utter that incantation and make herself reappear. Now the question is, for what reason? If she really didn't have to use that spell, then why use it in the first place? If I can find out the answer to that question, then this entire case will start to unravel. Most fascinating. Very well. Allow us to hear this theory of yours. Tell the court why it was necessary for the witch to appear at the crime scene. Well, we're still in the game. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The reason Miss Kira reappeared at the scene of the crime was to cover up her crime. I can't think of any other possibility. This has to be the answer. Well, isn't it obvious? She was trying to cover up her own crime. Oh, is that right? Tell me, why would she do that? See, that's the thing. You can't say to give herself an alibi, because the problem is, if she's invisible, she doesn't need an alibi, and then it gets shut down. So, if she's not doing it to give herself an alibi outright, the reason is to cover up the crime, which in turn gives her an alibi. That's a sneaky one. That's a very sneaky one. Well, just give me a minute. I'm getting to that part. That will not be necessary, Sir Blue Knight. Huh? Think about it. What would she have to hide? If no one could have seen her to begin with. You heard the good Inquisitor. No matter how you look at it, there'd be no reason for me to reappear. Assuming that I was the criminal, that is. I can't argue with that.
Pardon the interruption, but that's not necessarily the case.
Professor Layton!
Explain yourself, Sir Top Hat. You have stated that Miss Kira had no reason to reappear. However, that situation changed, and it became necessary for her to show herself. Isn't that right, Miss Kira?
Huh? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean.
It would seem the defense must clarify their argument with evidence. Mr. Wright, I believe that Miss Kira did not intend to reveal herself at the crime scene. Rather, that something occurred which forced this young lady to make herself reappear.
What was so important that she had to reappear and risk being spotted? Defender, tell the court what it would have been necessary for the witch to reappear at this crime scene.
Her glasses.
Take that!
Coupled with that sploosh? Miss Kira, you usually wear glasses, is that correct? Huh? It's like I already told you. I lost my glasses a few days ago. Are you absolutely sure about that? Or did you not, in fact, lose them tonight? During the crime? Of course not.
Perhaps you accidentally dropped them while you were committing the crime. Then, as you were attempting to make your escape, you noticed they were gone. Therefore, you made yourself reappear in order to search for your missing glasses.
No!
Objection!
How absurd! Such baseless conjecture! What you propose is fundamentally flawed.
What do you mean?
Let us assume, hypothetically, that the witch did in fact drop this evidence. That does not explain what purpose it would serve for her to make herself reappear. It would still make more sense for her to escape under the cover of darkness.
Objection!
Not true. Unfortunately, Inquisitor Barnum, such a plan was simply not possible.
What?
Mr. Wright, do you understand what I'm suggesting?
Yes. He means the reason Miss Kira made herself reappear at the crime scene. Alright, this is it. Defender, enlighten us. Why did the witness feel it necessary to make herself reappear? She couldn't find her glasses. The answer is simple, Your Honor. She couldn't find her glasses. She could not find them. If you've noticed, she's still not wearing her glasses now.
Objection!
Hold a moment, Sir Blue Knight. What does that have to do with anything? That's right. It doesn't change a single thing.
Objection!
That's where you're wrong. In fact, it changes quite a bit. Tonight, the two victims were engulfed by flames, courtesy of a magic spell. That very instant, 4 witnesses saw the flames erupt at the scene. It was at that point that something you didn't expect occurred. You suddenly lost your glasses. That's right. You were scared that if your glasses were discovered at the scene of the crime, you would be suspected of being a witch.
Objection!
What foolishness. Even if her glasses were found, she could simply have explained that she dropped them 3 days before the crime happened. Nope.
Objection!
I'm afraid that is not a possibility, Inquisitor Barnum.
What do you say?
If you recall, it had been raining quite heavily at the crime scene beforehand. Had she stated that she dropped her glasses before the crime, then naturally, one would expect the glasses to be soaked in water and covered in mud. However, the rain had already stopped at the time the crime itself was committed. In other words, one look at the pair of clean, dry glasses would reveal that she dropped them later, thus implicating her as a witch.
No! I should have known. I was perfecting my rainfall rending technique in that forest, and not once during the rainfall did I see that flower maiden traveling along the nearby path. That's not all. In order to frame Miss Cantabella as the witch, you needed to leave this witch's scepter behind at the scene of the crime. Huh, I see. That would most definitely, be the most definitive evidence that she was the witch. The objective here was to have somebody discover the staff at the scene. Alas, that person was I.
However, no doubt you came to realize that one can deduce which spells were used simply by examining the magic gems on the scepter. In this case, one can see that the witch must have used Demir to vanish from sight and make her escape.
That's why, Miss Kira, you were left with no other option but to reappear at the crime scene. That was the only way for you to avoid suspicion if someone were to discover your glasses at the crime scene. By reappearing, you'd be able to explain that you simply dropped your glasses when you rushed to see what had happened. What do you have to say to that, Miss Kira? You know.
I've let you both ramble on and on, but playtime is over.
Huh?
So that's it, then? I'm a witch because I dropped my glasses? I must have said it how many times now? I lost my glasses days ago. Were you even listening? I'll say it again. Over 1,000,000 times! I lost my glasses, I lost my glasses! Do you like evidence, Sir Defender? Do you love proof, Sir Top Hat? Then prove I dropped my glasses at the crime scene. You can't prove it.
Unfortunately...
In other words, you lose.
Unfortunately, Miss Kira, that is not the case. Thanks to one thing that we mentioned earlier with Mr. Wordsmith. He said he heard a sploosh sound, but it didn't sound like the shattering of glass. But Miss Mary confirmed that they heard the sound as well, so there definitely was that sound. But
what if we've been mistaken? That is correct. Proving such a thing would indeed be impossible. To prove that the witness dropped her glasses at the crime scene, what say you, Inquisitor Barnum? 'Tis indeed a question of proof, my lord. These glasses have been missing from the very beginning. The Knights of the Inquisition found no trace of these glasses anywhere near the crime scene. Therefore, this witness cannot in any way be accused of being a witch. You heard the man. But we were so close! That girl is a witch! Can't anyone else see that? What should we do, Professor?
Well, it would seem the young lady has finished what she has to say. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Wright?
Yes, it certainly looks that way, Professor Layton. What's with that face? Do you find something funny here?
It is as you said, Inquisitor Barnum.
Explain.
The defense raises just one further question. Why were you unable to find those glasses?
What do you mean? You must have searched the area quite thoroughly looking for them. And yet, even now the Knights have been unable to locate these glasses. Did you ever wonder why? Yes, that has become quite the mystery. Surely they must be around somewhere. The glasses were lost to the wolves. That is the only explanation.
There is still one remaining place that you have not searched tonight.
What did you say? The glasses were supposedly not found at the crime scene, leaving only one other possible place. What is this? You two. Have at you, Sir Blue Knight. Draw your blade and reveal to this court where the glasses are supposedly hiding. Looks like I've somehow managed to make it through my first witch trial. It all comes down to this, the final piece of evidence. It's time to clear up this case once and for all.
I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Wright.
The piece of evidence proving to the one place not searched tonight.
Take that!
Tonight, there was one thing that was carried away from the crime scene, right under everyone's nose. Carried away? I'm speaking, of course, about this. That's the milk bucket that disappeared from the crime scene. Thus far, the defense's claim that the glasses were dropped at the crime scene has been regarded as mere suspicion. However, or mere speculation. However, if Miss Kira, we find your glasses within the contents of this milk bucket, then our mere speculation will suddenly become fact. What manner of witchery? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Just crazy. No way could my glasses have been inside that stupid milk bucket. That's just impossible. How about we quit with the speculation and actually find out? What do you say, Inquisitor Barnum? That's just a waste of the court's time. Just don't listen to them. Don't... 'Tis mandated that the Knights of the Inquisition investigate any and all possibilities during the course of a trial. Except for earlier when they didn't, because they were assuming that she was a witch and that was it. My lord, the Inquisition requests that this milk bucket be searched immediately. Very well. Just get the hands in and slosh it about and why? What? What? That sploosh sound that Wordsmith heard. Miss Kira, as you can see, your glasses have been found inside the milk bucket. The truth is out. Nothing you say can change that now. Which leads us to the next question.
Specifically, a question of when. When did you drop your glasses into the milk bucket?
What? Why is this happening? This whole thing is ridiculous! The answer is obvious, isn't it? I dropped them afterwards, after I ran over to see the fire. I took a tiny peek inside that milk bucket. That's when they fell in. Don't be stupid, child! Snowy and I were at the scene first. We made sure to take that milk bucket before anyone else could get their grubby little hands on it. We weren't gonna let a single soul get anywhere near that sweet, creamy bucket of deliciousness. You can bet my farm on that.
Each of these 4 witnesses has stated that they heard the spell Ignace being cast at the time of the incident. According to the Grand Grimoire, Ignace summons a circle of flame within a 1-meter radius of the caster. In other words, the real witch must have been at Miss Cantabella's side at the time of the incident. Indeed. That is when the glasses fell into the milk bucket. Therefore, there is only one logical conclusion. Only one person who could be the true witch. And that person is you!
Miss Kira, you are the real witch.
And thus, she's gone. Straight in there. Yep. What a very strange trial this has been. From the very beginning, we have all paid witness to a most unusual set of circumstances. A baker turned defender, a surprise extra witness, and now a not guilty verdict for the accused. Never have I seen such a spectacle.
Is this really happening? The girl inside the cage, you mean she's the real witch? But what about that Isabella Cantabella girl?
Miss Kira. Tell us why.
Why? Yep.
Why were you trying to frame Miss Cantabella?
That is the good question.
You could easily have escaped the crime scene without a trace. There was no reason to frame anyone.
There was also no reason to do it.
This crime was a result of nothing but your overwhelming ill intent.
To frame a person as a witch is to condemn that person to death by fire. Surely you must know this. So why Isabella Cantabella?
Do you have any idea what it feels like to be a witch?
Feels like.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for these powers, but I have them. And now here I am, begging for my life. I was living such a peaceful life until now. Selling flowers, getting scolded by my boss for not selling enough of them. That's why I was trying to put an end to these trials once and for all.
Put an end to the trials.
Oh?
You all know what I mean? The one condition written in the story that will end these witch trials.
When the great witch Bezella has been put to the flames and vanquished from this world, these trials will come to an end.
This was my chance to finally end all this. At least that's what I thought. The sun had begun to set on that lonely forest path, and there wasn't a soul in sight. I always carried my hidden Telea Magica with me in case of a moment like
Magica.
this.
I like how they call it a Magica, not Magica. Magica.
I used my magic to expose that girl for what she really is. If I had been successful, then all these trials would finally end and I could go on living my peaceful life.
What are you saying? Am I hearing this correctly?
Yes, you are hearing this correctly.
Are you actually accusing Isabella Cantabella?
Why do you think no one has ever seen the legendary Great Witch? It's because she's been hidden in our midst the entire time. She's protected. She's hidden from us. It's all part of the story.
Part of the story?
A very interesting thing here. However,
That's enough! Speak no more. A witch's existence cannot be justified.
No, please! I know you've all noticed it too! You could end this! All of this! That girl! It's all because of that girl! I beg you! Please! Please release me! Knights of the Court! Isn't it your duty to protect the people of this town? Give me another chance!
Ah.
That is where you're wrong. Tis indeed a knight's duty to protect. We are impelled to protect the citizens of Labyrinthia against you and your ilk.
Yikes!
The reason you were offered my protection until now was because your guilt was uncertain. There was the possibility that you were not a witch. The circumstances were such that it seemed another was guilty. That possibility has since disappeared, and your innocence along with it. You now find yourself at the other end of my sword.
Barnum. Barnum is a very, very devastating Inquisitor.
Vile witch, enemy of Labyrinthia, may the fires purge you from this land.
Hold it! Please, wait! Stop! Please, just stop this!
Spella!
If it means putting an end to these horrible trials, let me take her place. Let me be Bezella. Send me to the flames. But please, if it would save her life.
This trial has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this flower seller, Kira, is a witch. And according to the law, all those found to be witches will be executed.
Purged. Yeah. It's kind of nuts, really, honestly. It's,
Did he say executed?
You watched someone be executed before this trial! Phoenix, come on! You literally came in here watching someone be executed.
This is most unsettling.
Bailiff, ready the fire.
Now a cutscene.
No! No! Don't do this!
Listen to me! Don't let her fool you! Isabella is the Great Witch! Hear me! There's no time to waste! She's Bezella! Take her! And then these witch trials will be no more! The witch trials will end!
Oh, that cut off there. These witch trials will end. It's so damning. Trial by fire. Condemned to death. So far, we've always managed to pull off a win and get a not guilty verdict. But winning has never felt this depressing. Oh, Spella, are you feeling alright? Probably not after something like that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going to end things off. We've got almost an hour at this point. So we're going to end things off. But first, we have to see it's a little bit more because I've got to get to a point where I can save. Yes, I just wanted to thank you all of you. You all came to my rescue yet again. Well, yeah, of course we did. Hold on a sec, Spella. Wait, what did you say just now? You all came to my rescue yet again. You don't mean... Yes, I remember everything. I remember the last trial. I suppose that makes this the second time we've met, and the second time all of you have helped me. Mr. Wright, am I to infer that you and Isabella have met before? Ah, yeah, it seems that way. You too, Mr. Layton? Perhaps it would be best if we briefed each other on what has transpired. Please let me... Okay, what should we discuss first? What happened in London? Isabella paid us a visit in London. She had in her possession a letter from an old acquaintance of mine. Is that right? Mr. Accidenti helped drive Isabella straight out of Labyrinthia! You
both kept me safe from the witches that were chasing me. Wait, did you say witches? So they appeared in London too?
Regrettably, I am unable to say that our protection was absolute. When we saw you last, it seemed you'd managed to escape, courtesy of that passing freighter.
Oh yeah, that's right! What happened to you after that, Isabella? I rode that ship along the river for a while before arriving at a nearby port. And then... that's when I met Mr. Wright and Maya.
Okay, what should we discuss? What happened on the ship?
I didn't know where the ship would end up. I felt very lonely out there.
Please accept my sincerest apologies. I'm afraid there was absolutely nothing I could do to prevent it.
No, please don't blame yourself, Mr. Layton. I just didn't know what to do, so I tried to look for something, anything on that ship that might help me. Boy, you sure found something, all right. Or rather, someone. You ran into a master thief working as part of the ship's crew. Yes, that's right. Did you say master thief? Crikey, that's amazing!
I wouldn't exactly say it was amazing.
After that, I was taken to court, and that's when Mr. Wright helped me.
I see. Then perhaps, somewhere deep within your mind must have existed a memory of that previous trial, and of Mr. Wright. Hence why you thought to seek out his help when you found yourself in such an unfortunate situation this evening.
That makes sense. After all, they did make legal history that day in jolly old England. Did you say he made history? Wow, that's incredible, right, Professor? I wouldn't exactly say I made history. But then, after that, I was never able to find my way back to the Professor. Even after I went through all the pains of finding that clue, it ended up being taken away from me.
A clue, you say?
Yes, the tag that was hanging around the neck of that sweet little stuffed toy.
That tag was a clue?
A clue for what?
Okay, what should we discuss? The stuffed toy's tag.
I had a lot of time to think while I was on that ship. I thought about a lot of things, like how to try and find my way back once the ship arrived at its destination. Things like that.
Find a way back?
A way back to Mr. Layton and Luke. They were the only ones I knew I could depend on to help me.
The pleasure was ours, Isabella.
But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't remember the name of the town where they lived. Huh? You mean London, Isabella? Oh, that's it! London! That's what was written on Carmina's letter to Mr. Layton. The blue teddy bear I found in that room was wearing a tag around its neck.
Sorry, Isabella, but PC Badger looks nothing like a teddy bear.
On the tag, in very small letters, was written London. I recognized the name of the town, and I thought it might be an address. That's because that stuffed toy was used as a special promotion run by the London Metropolitan Police. Oh, that's right! Isabella, you must have known that the address was super important, so that's why you kept the tag, right? That way you could meet up with Mr. Layton and Luke again. I just felt so lonely and helpless. I wonder, though, who do you think really did it? Hit Olivia over the head with a pipe, I mean.
What's this?
Oh yeah, I guess we never did find out who the real culprit was.
I do believe that may have some connection to the group of witches.
What? You mean the witches that were chasing us through London?
Indeed. It could be that they noticed your escape on that ship and managed to infiltrate their own way on board.
Could it be? So, you're saying there was some big scary witch lurking around the inside of that cargo hold?
I'm afraid there is a rather high possibility that that was the case. Those witches were intent on seeing you brought back to Labyrinthia no matter what. However, in order to do so, they had to make certain you did not become entangled in any situation that may stall your capture.
Ah, in other words, the situation with Miss Al Dente, you mean?
Precisely. They must have knocked that crew member unconscious and attempted to recapture Espella before the police could arrive. However, their plan was clearly foiled, given that you ended up in court regardless.
And that's when she became my client. I just can't clearly remember anything that happened back then. Do you think there's a possibility that someone was pulling Espella's strings through the entire trial? Hey, maybe you're right. There was something a little strange about Espella at the time. Mr. Wright?
Mr. Wright, Espella was introduced to you at the time as a schoolgirl. Is that correct?
Yes. How did you...
Because I'm a genius. She would have had no knowledge of the world outside of Labyrinthia. That being the case, having her stand in an English courtroom as she would pose a...
Let me try that again.
That being the case, having her stand in an English courtroom as she was would pose a serious problem. Meaning that someone must have been attempting to cover up Espella's identity.
What? But, Professor, could someone really do that?
That they could indeed, Luke. And if it was as I suspect, I believe our adversaries may be far more powerful than we originally thought.
Just exactly who or what are we dealing with here? Hey guys, let's head back to the bakery for now. I bet the boss is waiting for us with one heck of a pastry feast. I was right. I was going pasty and pastry, but I'm an idiot, so I got it. Oh, actually, I can't go home just yet. Huh? You can't? Aww. Well, there's still a couple of legal procedures that have to be taken care of before I can go home. Please, you all go on ahead without me. Espella, the last time we did that, you were accused of being a witch and witnessed the murder of 2 men.
Is that so? Very well.
I really must thank you all. Thank you so much for everything. Alright then, Espella. I'll catch you later. Yes. Farewell for now.
Mr. Wright, please allow me the pleasure of a proper introduction. My name is Herschel Layton. I am a professor of archaeology in London.
A professor, huh? Well, my name is Phoenix Wright. I'm an attorney.
As I suspected, you are no ordinary baker after all, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty weird myself, to be honest. I mean, I really do believe that I'd been a baker all my life. But the more everyone kept saying it, the less sure I was that it was actually true. Just where did that memory come from anyway? Hey, Professor! If Mr. Wright is an attorney, that must mean he's as smart as you, right?
I'm afraid I can't really say, Luke. Besides, a gentleman would never call another person a dumbass.
What? But... behind every ace attorney, there's an even smarter, not to mention beautiful, witty and utterly amazing ace assistant. I think you also forgot humble in there, Maya. Well, my name's Luke Triton, and I'm the professor's apprentice. I'm Maya Fey. And Nick here is my apprentice. Isn't that right, Nicky boy? Nicky boy? Hey, wait, why am I your apprentice? Anyway, we should all head back to the bakery. Let's get a move on. I'm sure Espella will be back before we know it.
I would not get your hopes up about that, Sir Blue Knight.
Barnum! Inquisitor Barnum?
Most impressive work tonight. 'Tis a shame you have kept such ability hidden until now.
Trust me, Nick's lawyering abilities beat the pants off his baking abilities any day of the week.
Okay, moving on. What do you mean by that, Inquisitor? Why can't Isabella go home? New charges have been brought against Miss Isabella Cantabella. What? No way! That can't be right! You have realized it, haven't you? She is being charged under suspicion of being the Great Witch Bizella. She what? How can that be? Am I to assume this charge is based purely on Miss Kira's accusation? It was not I who made the decision. Huh? Regardless, the girl will return to court at the appointed time for further trial. Until then, I am to seek out any and all evidence pertaining to the Great Witch. Pardon me, Inquisitor. When exactly is this appointed time? The investigation into this allegation will conclude on the day of the storyteller's next parade. That would be 2 weeks from today. Following our investigations into the matter, the trial of the Great Witch shall proceed. What the? It would appear the girl has been withholding a dark secret from you all. Isabella Cantabella's questioning is set to begin shortly. That means visiting hours are over. I recommend you leave immediately. Well, okay. Looks like we've got a time constraint set on us for this. It's also just long enough for the DM to get together and write everything down to get all the information they need. The story that dictates the fate of an entire town, and now a so-called Great Witch named Bizella. Most intriguing. It would seem to be up to us to uncover answers to these mysteries. But how are we supposed to manage it all in 2 weeks? Where are we going to find any evidence? You know, I was thinking, how do you address a Great Witch? Hail to thee, oh magnificent magical one, or maybe just a casual, what's up, witchy baby? What difference would it make? She's called a Great Witch, not someone I'd ever want to meet. I believe I've thought of a solution to our problem. It's actually rather simple. Professor Layton? Allow me to explain, Mr. Wright. The only way we may be able to solve the mysteries of this town and its residents is if we join forces. He's right. We've come this far. There's no way we're going to give up on Isabella now. See, this is one of the nice things we're going over anyway, so we may as well. This was something in the original release of the game. It was going to be there against each other, because you can see that in some of the first trailers. But here, they just realized that doesn't make any sense. They'd work together. They just would. Okay, I'm on board. I look forward to teaming up with you, Professor. Me too, Luke. No, me too, Maya. Now then, shall we press on? This marks the beginning of our own story, one dictated by ourselves and written by our own hands. That it does. To be continued. Finally! 15 minutes after I wanted to end. We can end, because there's no save states in Citra, and there was no save option, which was unfortunate. But, as you can see, I have also, you may have noticed, the credibility is at 5, not 4. I did that. And now we have all of those picarats. Very nice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are going to end things off for today. So thank you very much for watching. But for now, my name has been Supersonic Blood. Do remember to like, comment, subscribe for more, and to share this stuff so people know it exists. You guys have been a fantastic audience, and I shall see you all next time.